Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We are broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we're also brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors. And if you're just joining us today, we want to let our listeners know that our format's a little bit different now. For the remainder of the summer here, we're going to be recording our shows prior to the Sunday when it airs. We will be live, of course, coming up at the end of the month, and I'm excited about this, and I know you are too, Tony, when we will be at the Minnesota State Fair.
That's right.
For 2 Sundays. That'll be Sunday, August 28th, and then Sunday, September 4th. And let me just entice you. We want to see our listeners out there.
Sure.
We are going to be giving away thousands of dollars worth of prizes and goodies for people that are there, for people that call in. We've got just a blast, a bunch of fun things that are planned.
And where will we be?
I think that the station is up by Machinery Hill.
So you're talking about the 1280 booth?
AM 1280 booth, I believe, is going to be up by the... by the Machinery Hill.
We'll keep our listeners updated on that.
Yeah,
so
you'll be able to listen to
and
the show and sit on a John Deere here as well. But in the meantime, like I said, the next few weeks here, we're going to be recording ahead of time. If you have a comment that you'd like to leave for us, we still have a way for you to give us a call. And we'll take that down, and we will address that on next week's show, or even have you on as well. And
sure.
Tony, that number?
The number is 952-224-2668.
Yep. And so, again, that's not for the station now. That's for leaving a message.
For the radio show.
For the radio show for the next couple of weeks. And before we go on to our next... section here on a listener email, we did get a phone call earlier this week at the office, and we have Beth, who is on the line right now this morning. Good morning, Beth.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking the time to be with us and to kind of explain the questions that you had asked earlier this week. You're with a homeowners association, and you
Correct.
had a question about rentals in an HOA, right?
Right.
Go ahead. What is your question or concern?
Okay. Well, we're a smaller association. We have about 30 in our neighborhood, and have exterior ground only maintenance involved in the association. So we are all responsible for our own individual homes. But there's some concern with the economy right now as to whether or not we should be looking at putting some restrictions in around how many homes could be rented at one time. There's concern about maintaining the values of the property and that sense of community that we share right now. Currently, there's a couple homes being rented for a short period of time, so there's not a concern right now, but obviously people are concerned long term if things don't turn around. What are the pros and cons of putting some restrictions in, and if you do that, how you make it objective and very easy to operationalize so that there's no personalization of the process happening.
Well, let me address that if I can, Beth. I teach classes on this subject, as a matter of fact, because I handle rental management services for New Concepts, and our primary business is managing homeowner associations. So I would say 90% of my clients come from homeowners associations, either townhomes, condos, or single-family homes, and they're facing all the same questions that you are. There seems to be a reaction among homeowners that they just do not want rentals in the neighborhood, or they fear rental property in the neighborhood, and there's some good reasons for that. We have not seen that it affects property values per se. What is a bigger impact on property values is if you have vacant, unsaleable homes in the neighborhood, or foreclosures in the neighborhood. And rental is certainly good way to prevent that. It helps people avoid foreclosure if they can rent out their home, and it also it prevents people abandoning their homes just because they're underwater. Most of my clients did not choose to be landlords. They're doing that to try and mitigate a tough situation. They can't sell.
And that's one of the reasons to really have a board of directors really think twice about having just prohibitions against rentals, because you may be shooting yourself in the foot in that if you don't allow rentals, here you have people who up to this point have been very responsible homeowners and taking care of their obligation. And if you have those people that end up not able to rent and they need to move on because of death, remarriage, job relocation, military service, these types of things, then that just puts them in a world of hurt, and they have no choice but to turn things over eventually to foreclosure. And this prevents that from happening.
Now, having said this, so obviously I'm a supporter of rental property. I think it's an important right of owning real estate. The biggest or most important thing the board can do is to establish good rental policies, and those are policies that encourage or require good property management of those rentals. You don't want people just putting a renter in, moving to California and never looking back. You've got to have some rules and regulations around rentals. You've got to have some checks and balances. And I probably have some class outlines that I could share with you, but I could also let you know the next time I speak on this subject.
Okay.
Yeah. The only other thing that comes to my mind too, Beth, concerning rentals and things to watch, and that is you, as Tony said earlier, you want to make sure that you are providing these homes to be very saleable and being able to transfer so that they go into the hands of someone else too. And you also have to keep in mind just some of the rules that FHA has now, because FHA is probably used as a primary way of financing a lot of homes. And so FHA has some restrictions that it's good to keep in mind. A couple of those that come to mind. Number one, the FHA says that if we're going to allow FHA loans to take place in your association, you cannot have one entity, one person, one corporation own more than 10% of the units. Otherwise, you'll have an issue and can't get FHA financing. Another one that comes to mind is FHA says if you have over 50% of the units in rentals, FHA financing will not be available too.
That's right.
So you want to be able to make sure that people are able to do the right thing, but I think it's certainly all right to have some restrictions in there, and for reasons. A couple of the good policies, just real quickly, Tony, that
you want to make sure they're licensed, that they have a rental license. That means the city is on your side in doing inspections for health and safety. You want to make sure they get the proper insurance necessary. You want to make sure that there is a local contact, a name and phone number that you, the board, can call in case there's a problem. And you want to make sure that you've got those renters registered with the board of directors, names and phone numbers, so that you can call them if you need to address them about something.
Okay. Now, with VHA, I had heard, is financing, is it 35% or is it 50%?
FHA has said no more than 50% of the units can be rentals, but now I'm not sure how that actually plays out in a single-family homeowners association.
So the 50% is relevant to apartments or condos.
I'm not sure about that, Beth. You would have to look into that.
Yeah, okay. I think you'll find that it probably is for all types of
Do you think so, Gene?
HOAs. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's not just a restriction for condominiums.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Beth, or does that pretty much answer at least some of the questions that you had?
Well, this is very helpful. I would appreciate being able to get the list of things that you'd suggest if someone does rent. So then, we are building in before there's an issue, kind of just expectations of what you need to do to be a responsible homeowner. I like that approach.
Right. Well, I've got your email address, so if that's all right, I can send it to you.
Yes.
All right, that would be great.
I guess. Yeah, we'll contact you then to further.
All right.
After the show as well, then to answer any further questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, let's take another quick break, and when we come back now, we'll deal with listener email with someone who said, I listen to the show all the time, but I don't know that I'd ever want to live in an HOA. Tony, let's find out whether that's because of us and how we are characterizing it, or maybe
we've made it sound so attractive that our listeners just want to avoid it at all costs. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case because we are pro HOAs.
We're for it. Yeah,
but it is something you need to see if it's right for you. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be back after these messages. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot.